Welcome back. It's a Health Tuesday, and this morning we are uncovering the intriguing link between asthma and allergies with Professor Johnny Peter. Great to have him back on the show, and we want you guys to join us as we delve into the science behind these conditions. I know we're going to oversimplify some pretty big concepts, but it's a great starting point, especially for parents, and we can then start to explore some effective management strategies and hopefully gain some insights from the expert himself. Thanks for being here, Prof.
How are you doing?
Well, thank you. How are you guys?
Allergy-free at this time of the year?
You know, actually, I've got a bit of a pollen, issue, but just recovered from a cold. And we explained last time on the show, those two are linked. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, speaking of links, there's another link here, and I'm hoping there's a link, or I'm not too sure, but is there a link between asthma and allergies? And exactly when it comes to that, what are some of the symptoms that you'd find in these scenarios?
In that space, yeah.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, asthma is probably the most severe of all of what we call the allergic conditions. And so they're very tightly linked. And it's mainly because the driving force that causes asthma. So asthma, what it is, and what gives you your symptoms, is that you get inflammation in your airways or your lungs, and that narrows some of your breathing tubes, essentially. Makes it harder to breathe, and that's what gives you the symptoms.
Fight or flight kicks in.
Exactly, and the main symptom that people are well familiar with in asthma is wheezing, right? Yes. Tightness of chest and wheezing. And that is driven by allergic inflammation, right? And so, in simple terms, the body is making an overactive immune response to things that most people are breathing in or being exposed to without making a problem and problematic inflammation. And the common things, so last time we were on the show, we talked about pollen. And as a big group, that's the second most common trigger for allergy and asthma. The leading one is house dust mite, right? And house dust mites are crazy creatures. They're microscopic little mites. They actually belong in the spider family, believe it or not.
That's not terrifying at all. Thanks for...
Exactly. And they feed on, like, dust in your pillows, and they feed on dead skin, right? So the commonest place you find them is in your bedroom, right?
Yeah, in your bed, probably.
Mattress, your pillows, those kinds of things. And then we also see other common allergies, things to molds, different mold species, and to pets, right? So people will be familiar with that. Dogs, cats, things like that.
Well, for those of you that are left not washing every piece of linen in your house and steaming your beds and your couches, which might be a good thing to do coming into a new season, no jokes. Asthma can get severe very quickly. And we know we've spoken about the histamines and how our own body can overreact in those spaces, but there seems to be a line within asthma, certainly from a parent's perspective, that is terrifying. When does it become very dangerous? Is it always dangerous? Can an allergic reaction in that space, some pollen on that day, take you to the most extreme version of what asthma can do? I know I'm, again, oversimplifying, but when do we need to be really worried?
Sure. I mean, I think that in general rules, people get familiar with how they present with their allergies. And often that will be, upper airway allergies, sneezing. But the chest, like I say, the biggest symptom there is wheezing or a sense of tightness. Now, often what we say is if you are known with asthma, you can use your medication that you've been given, your inhalers. But if that doesn't settle, then we would encourage you to go to an emergency setting. So it should settle, and you should feel some relief pretty quickly. Now, interestingly, one of the things that we've started to do much more, even in mild asthmatics, is to give people not just that reliever medicine that opens the chest, but to actually give them some anti-inflammatory medicine at the same time. Because what we've realized is that even in people that have very intermittent symptoms, there's an underlying inflammation or allergic inflammation that's going on in the lungs. And in order to, exactly as you say, prevent getting to be severe, right? We don't want it to get severe. So what we want to do is whenever we give that reliever therapy, we also give what we call an inhaled corticosteroid, and that damps down the inflammation. So that's actually been a change in the way that we treat asthma. So we don't just focus because, some people are very severe, and those people know. They constantly often go to the hospital minor, but actually looking at the milder group, let's say people that are intermittently got symptoms, what we now recommend, in the old days we used to just give the reliever, now we give the reliever and the anti-inflammatory.
Can I ask you, can you outgrow asthma? Because you get like childhood eczema, and I assume they're part of a similar, now that we know they're all part of that broader family. Can you outgrow your asthma like you can outgrow an eczema?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question. So what's interesting is that although the body makes these allergic inflammation, right? So that goes on based on your genetics and your exposures. The immune system has got a way of having other parts of it which can actually control that inflammation. And that is something that does change over time. So we do commonly see that. So we see people that have childhood asthma, often related as well to physical stimuli like exercise, right? It's very common for young children to have exercise-related asthma. And then often what we see is that that gets better, especially into adolescence. And many people will stop suffering for that.
Yeah.
What's interesting is many of those people, though, as they age into their 20s, 30s, 40s, some of them will have their asthma symptoms come back.
Swimming was a big part of what helped me strengthen my lungs in that space. So thank you. That's what 12 degrees looks like, ladies and gentlemen. In 7 minutes. Absolutely love it. Prof, you're an absolute legend.
Thank you so much. And Mzansi gets better than that. Not only are we educating you, but we're giving you a chance to win 5,000 Rand. How?
Nice.
Well, simply do the following. Tell us about a time when allergies ruined a special moment or event for you. And then you want to use the hashtag CETICIT in your entry on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and use that competition post. And don't forget that the competition closes on Monday, the 2nd of October at midnight. And those T's and C's can be found at expressoshow.com. What are you waiting for? Go relieve yourself, go breathe easy, and go enjoy life.
Go wash your sheets, go.